What do I do here? What do I do to fill in the hours? I'll go to Galveston and be a tugboat captain in Texas. Like, what
Galveston.
the fuck? Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another Friday episode here at the Audiophiles, an episode devoted to a song selected by one of you lovely people out there in the listening audience. And today's was selected by our old buddy Finbar, who offered up this track on our magazine Motorcade episode, which was one of my favorite tracks that you gave me in the year 2024. I really, really loved that track. So I had high hopes for this one, and I hope you do too, John, because you're going to be the one to go off and give this Finbar recommendation a go. And it is a band called Galaxie 500. And we just discussed Dump Truck. Now we're going to be getting into Tugboat. That is the name of the track by Galaxie 500. So, what is your familiarity or level of familiarity with Galaxie 500?
Wee bit, and not, well, a very small amount. They're yet another band which has been recommended and mentioned to me on a number of occasions,
Yeah.
and I've never got off my arse to do something about it. So I'm excited to do so. It's one of the benefits and beauties of this channel.
Yeah.
It makes things like this happen. I do believe that one of them went off to form Luna, because I think that was mentioned. I know on the Into the Music, Greg, he gave me Tracy I Love to react to, which I thought was a decent, okay, lovely guitar, had like country twinges to it, I thought. And he reacted himself to a coffee request for 23 Minutes in Brussels, which was fucking brilliant. So
Hmm.
Tom Verlaine contributing to the guitar, which is, yeah, you can hear his guitar a mile off. Well, I can. Beautiful. So yeah, really interesting stuff there. So I am very interested and excited to listen to Galaxie 500.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure Finbar is too, and anyone else who tuned into this episode just because they saw it was a Galaxie 500 one. So go off, give that thing a spin, and come back and let us know what you made of it.
Will do, Captain. Start. So we have this lovely, dreamy guitar coming in, and then a sort of more forwardly and clear sort of picked guitar. But it has this lovely tone to it. Beautiful. Cymbals are going away, and then we get this sort of drum beat, which sounds quite primitive and almost plasticky, Formica-ish. Yeah, it kind of sounds a bit sort of 80s indie DIY. It sounds like the sort of song that would be passed around on a cassette, handwritten. Yeah, cool. And then your vocals come in, and it totally fits. He's not exactly belting it out. Okay sort of vocals, but really heavily reverbed as well. So it all gives this yeah, dreamy air to it. And there's a bit of that sort of, yeah, I don't know what we call it. It's interesting. Let's hear some more, see how it goes. I don't wanna be a president. I just wanna So he says, "I just want to be your tugboat captain." Um, it's kind of different sentiments to "Now I want to be your dog." It's quite sweet in a way. Yeah, interesting. So I'm just thinking about this because yeah, I could be off here, but one thing I do know is Sterling Morrison, when he left Bow Underground, went off to, I think he went to New York to finish his PhD, and then he went down to Texas and he became a tugboat captain. And that's the sort of thing, if you hear it, sticks in your head. I wasn't thinking this was being about him when I just saw the title, but you kind of hear that first Bow Underground and Nico album. It's got that tone to it. It's really nice. It's got that kind of like the softer psychedelic side to it as well, with that sort of that first guitar. If it is about him, that is so cool. That is so cool. This is a place I'd like to be, a place I'd be happy. I get the feeling from this that there's an idea of isolation, but it's self-determined. And almost a sense of purpose as well. It makes me think, I don't know if I've said this before, but there's a great, like, it's considered a children's book. I don't know if it is or not. The Crane by Rainer Zemnick. That is an awesome book. And they have that same sort of calm sense of simplicity and purpose when the world around you is in turmoil. And it's written in such a great way as well. Fantastic book. Yeah, it kind of makes me think of this sort of figure. Really interesting. Drums doubled up, starting to move. Didn't want that to end. Yeah, it was awesome. I love the ways there's kind of wistfulness to that sort of main guitar melody. Those often went so they went through there's a refrain, chorus, whatever you want to call it, second time, and then very subtly it shifted. The drum sort of doubled up its beat, and it just felt like it was building. Guitar's going, and then it just kind of this guitar switched slightly to be more in the left channel. Um, it's serenading in a way. It's beautiful. And the right channels were becoming more and more bustly. The whole thing, a bit more sort of for the percussion and everything, and the other guitars, and it's all sort of building this activity, and then it all just comes crashing down, subsiding, and it made me feel a little bit sad that it stopped. Um, yeah, it's beautiful. I love this. That was great. It really was. Well, all the people are saying I should listen to Galaxie 500. Well, right. um, I need to know more, but there's so much to this. You can hear the stuff that's influenced this. I don't know what period, but I'm guessing mid to late 80s, maybe later. Just the sound of it could be later, but what it's influenced, or maybe they were influenced by the stuff that's around at the end of the 80s. But I'm guessing, yeah, stuff like Spaceman 3, even like a bit of Jesus and Mary Chain, all sorts of stuff. Really interesting. Loads. So I need to find out lots more about this. Um, so let's go back and chop it up with Andy.
All right, so you are pulled back to shore by the tugboat. What did you make of it?
So it starts with this dreamy guitar twang, and then another sort of peaked guitar melody over the top, which I think the bass is echoing it really high up, sort of Peter Hook style. And there's also a very bass. The starts off with a bit of sort of cymbal tapping, and then there's a really basic drum beat that sounds primitively plastic, almost Formica in its quality. Um, the overall effect of this is a sort of 80s indie lo-fi DIY sound. Um, Sort of song which would be passed about on a homemade cassette where all the tracks are written in different inks. I really miss those days. um, or the cover would be some really bad photoshopped image, not photocopied image, not Photoshop,
Yeah, yeah,
photocopied
yeah.
image that's really grainy and crap and is degraded down so much you can barely make out what it is. Again, I really miss those days. Anyway, in come the vocals, heavily reverbed and slightly distant, and yeah, it's like the singer has got one foot outside the door, ready to go at a moment's notice. He's not exactly belting this out. It's not Tom Jones, but but it totally fits with the rest of the song's aesthetics. You know, you would if it was Tom Jones, you'd be what the hell's going on here? So yeah, it ticks boxes straight away, and he says, I think, because he is repeated, I don't want to stay at your party. I don't want to talk to your friends. I think he says, I don't want to vote for your president. I just want to be your tugboat captain. So yeah, this rings a particular bell with me, both musically and narratively. It's interesting this not staying at party and talking to friends. I don't know what it means about voting for president, whether that is with a capital P or just a, you know, class stroke, frat president or whatever. I don't
Hmm.
know, or whatever. But I do know this. Um, and forgive me if I'm stealing your thunder from research. Oh, this may not have nothing to do with that, actually, but I do know that a certain Sterling Morrison, when he left the Velvet Underground, went back to, I think it was New York, to academia, did his PhD, and then somehow, through some weird course of events, he became a tugboat captain down in Texas somewhere. And when you learn that sort of thing, it's the sort of thing that sticks in your head. um, because there is quite a bit of that first the Velvet Underground and Nico album sound to this guitar. that sort of 60s psychedelic, but soft psychedelic sort of sound to it, that sort of weird jangle to it. It's great, great sound. So if this is about Sterling Morrison, that is so cool. Um, because that joint guitar sound that he developed with Lou Reed, and they sort of bandied around the terms lead and rhythm. They just shared the duties up until the third album, I think, and then Lou Reed just concentrated on rhythm and songwriting and singing a lot more. Um, and Sterling Morrison became a proper lead. But that twin guitar sound is really important, and it inspired television definitely, and to a certain extent from their Dream Syndicate and so on and so on. So I mean, apart from the fact that Velvet Underground is one of my top 5 favorite bands ever, he's a legend in my eyes, definitely. So yeah, the song continues. It's a place I'd like to be. And it repeats and repeats, and I think it's a place I'd like to see at one point, but it's a place I'd be happy. And all this is repeated, and then the melody from the original melody from the guitar comes back and has a real, after those words, for some reason, its context, I guess, it sounds very wistful at this point. So there is a sense of isolation here, but also a sense of purpose. It's like he's, he wants to be on his own for a reason, and just this singular, because the whole idea of tugboat, it's not exactly going off and living on a lighthouse or something like that. You're not completely cut off from society,
Right,
but
right.
you are this little thing that's almost overlooked in terms of presence, but functionality is super important. So again, it's really interesting imagery. Um, and it kind of reminds me, I don't know, I think I might have mentioned this before, but if I have, probably forgotten. There's a great book called The Crane by a Czechoslovakian writer called Rainer Zimnik, um, who is counted as a children's novel. It's kind of isn't, but he writes it and he does the drawings on it, and it's a very simple tale, wonderfully simple, about purpose. The townsfolk, and they always come together as a group of them, and they walk off. It's like they're all joined, um, and they build this crane for part of the industrialization of the town. And then things go weird and wonderful, and there's a massive flood that lasts a couple of years and all sorts of shit. But he has a single purpose within this turmoil of the world, which keeps him rooted. Um, and the simplicity of his outlook as well keeps him there. Um, and it's a really fantastic book, and it kind of reminded me of that. That's like, what's going on? I don't want this, don't want that. I just want to do my little place in the world and do my thing. So yeah, I really enjoyed that sort of feeling of listening to it. The verse, sorry, repeats and refrain repeats again, and after the second refrain, being it's a place I'll be happy. The drum then beat doubles up. Um, it doesn't increase in speed; it just increases in frequency. Um, and the melody from that guitar repeats again. And around the 2:30 mark, the song then starts to build, and it feels like there's layers being added, although perhaps only a couple. But now it is starting to sound even more like Velvet Underground. Um, the lead guitar, just very subtly, does a quick sort of heel and toe slide and moves to the left in terms of the channels, and then starts serenading you in your left ear. And it's really nice and interesting. Again, it's not Jimi Hendrix or anything, but it's just engaging. And then the right channel just increases in bustle and percussion and overall sort of busyness and noise. And the whole thing very subtly just is building and building. And I was that close to sort of going into trance mode. I really enjoyed it. And then the dam seems to break and all the activity subsides. And the guitar sounds more like coming home as the song fades. And I was actually quite disappointed when it broke, and I felt a little twinge of sadness that it was all like burst away. But I don't know why. Just that was a initial reaction, and I was actually sad that the song finished as well because I was really enjoying it. Perhaps listened to too much Fela Kuti and 15-minute epics. Um, but yeah, I love this. I thought this is brilliant. I can hear so much in this because I believe this is mid to late 80s. That's the sense I've got of their place. And I could hear so much that has influenced this, particularly something like Velvet Underground, I would say, but other stuff as well. But also where this is in the place which and other stuff which I believe this has influenced. Um, Spaceman 3, even early bits of Jesus and Mary Chain and stuff like that. Um, but that sort of dream poppy DIY indie stuff. Yeah, this is great, and I can see why it's been recommended to me, and I can see why I'm going to go off and listen to more Galaxie 500 because I really, really rated this. I thought it's brilliant.
Awesome. I'm glad you did. I'm sure Finn is glad you did. Yeah, this was a lot of fun to listen to too. And you stole no thunder. I think it's the story of Sterling Morrison and his decision
So
on what to
interesting.
do post academia. If you know the story, how do you not understand
Yeah.
that this is what they're talking about? You know what I mean? So I think it's here there's no there could this could only be one man's story, and it is the story. It isn't this song is inspired by Sterling Morrison, obviously, and his you know saying goodbye to his, professorship or whatever and going, what do I do here? What do I do to fill in the hours? Ah, I'll go to Galveston and be a tugboat captain in Texas.
That
Like,
was
what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, get out of here. So yeah, these and all these guys went to Harvard, so I think that they were kind of like amused and charmed at the idea of leaving a prestigious place of learning to go do something as obscure, I'm sure necessary, but as obscure for someone from that field to go do, which is, what Morrison did. So
he he would have done that for a living. It's not like he's made so much money from the Vote Underground that he doesn't know. I'll just be eccentric and do some of
yeah.
this for a fun. He would have done it to survive,
Yeah, or anybody else would have, but he just did it for the entertainment value. Like I want to do this. This is the thing I want to do and I can, so I will. Because I don't know what his financial situation was. I doubt he was that hurt up or he's like my only outlet left, to eat 3 square meals a day is to be a tugboat captain in shitty Galveston, Texas. Sorry, anyone from Galveston. Uh, but yeah, a really interesting story. It's not hard to understand how someone could be charmed by that, especially if they're already Velvet Underground fans and they're like, "Oh my God, this story is wild." So, yeah, that was the inspiration behind it. Galaxie 500. They were an American indie rock band that formed in 1987 and split up in 1991. So there's not a lot out there to pick from, but there are 3 albums that they put out, 3 studio albums. Their first one was Today, which was released in 1988, On Fire the year after in 89, and again a year later, This Is Our Music in 1990. The band membership comprised guitarist and vocalist Dean Wareham, drummer Damon Krakowski, and bassist and vocalist Naomi Yang. The Velvet Underground and Jonathan Richman have been identified as key influences, and in interviews, Wareham cites Spaceman 3 as another key inspiration. So you are definitely picking out a lot of those sounds quite accurately as far as their influences are concerned. Guitarist Dean Wareham, drummer Krakowski, and bassist Yang had all met at the Dalton School in New York City in 1981, but began playing together during their time as students at Harvard University. Wareham and Krakowski had formed a series of punk-influenced student bands before Wareham returned to New York. Back in Cambridge by 1987, he and Krakowski formed a new band, with Yang joining the group on bass guitar. The new group adopted the name Galaxie 500 after a friend's car, a Ford Galaxie 500. The band played gigs in Boston and New York City and recorded a demo, which they sent to Shimmy Disc label boss and producer Mark Kramer. who agreed to produce the band. With Kramer at the controls, the band recorded the Tugboat single in February of '88 and the Oblivious Flexi Disc, and then their debut album Today, which was released on the small Aurora label. The band toured the UK in late 1988 and in late 1989, and then signed to Rough Trade and released their second album, On Fire, which has been described as lo-fi psychedelia reminiscent of Jonathan Richman being backed by the Velvet Underground, and is considered the band's defining moment. On Fire reached number 7 in the UK indie chart and met with much critical acclaim in the United Kingdom, but was less well received by the US music press, who cited Wareham's vocal limitations as a weakness. Galaxie 500 recorded 2 sessions for John Peel's BBC Radio 1 program, later released on the Peel Sessions album. Their cover of Jonathan Richman's Don't Let Our Youth Go to Waste was voted number 41 in 1989's Festive 50 by listeners to the show. The band, by the way, so many of these terms would be absolute fucking Greek to me, but if it wasn't for having done this channel with you and explaining some of this shit, you know what I mean? Like, Festive 50, what is, oh yeah, that's right. John told me about that. The band split up in the spring of '91 after the release of their third album, This Is Our Music. Wareham, who had already moved back to New York, quit the band after a lengthy American tour, as preparations were underway for a tour of Japan. As Wareham later said, Galaxie 500 broke up because it was time. We broke up as a result of internal contradictions. Columbia Records was interested in signing us, but the making of the previous album had been very difficult, and clearly we weren't getting along. So why should we continue to sit in a room and make music together? He pondered. Their last performance was on April 5th, 1991, at Bowdoin College for the campus radio station WBOR. Galaxie 500's records were released in the US and UK on the independent Rough Trade label. When Rough Trade went bankrupt in '91, Krakowski and Yang purchased the masters at auction, reissuing them on Rykodisc in 1996 as a box set containing all 3 albums and another disc of rarities. After leaving Galaxie 500, Wareham tried his hand at production himself, working with Mercury Rev. He released a solo single, Anastasia, in February of 1992 and formed a new band, Luna, which you had discussed earlier. And I have vague recollections of, especially, what was the second track that you alluded to, or did he listen to it on his own?
3 minutes in Brussels.
Yeah, that's the one that I recall listening to.
I think it's like about 11 minutes song or something. Really
yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Krakowski and Yang continued to record together as members of Magic Hour. They also began the Avant Press Exact Change. In June of 2010, Wareham announced on his website that he would be going on an autumn tour under the moniker Dean Wareham Plays Galaxie 500, where he would, as the moniker suggests, play only Galaxie 500 tracks. The band used simple instrumental techniques that were enhanced through an atmospheric production style. The sound has been described as reverb-saturated, woozily, slow-paced, and minimal. Music critic Jim De Rogatis assessed, Galaxie 500 never altered its trippy, somnambulistic formula, but what a splendid formula it was. In his book, Gimme Indie Rock, music journalist Andrew Earls described the band's sound as a usually slow to mid-tempo amalgam of Velvet Underground, the Feelies, the UK's proto-shoegaze drone rock icon Spaceman 3, the Dream Syndicate, and Television, gently pushed through a hazy dream pop filter, which is pretty close to what you were saying. Jen Pelly of Pitchfork explained, with its dislocating, that's right, John, get it in there, with its dislocating atmospheres and diffident vocals, all dream pop is outsider music. Galaxie 500 sounded so removed from a sense of time or place that they made this fact non-negotiable. Jason Ankeny of AllMusic said Galaxie 500 was arguably as influential in indie rock as the Velvet Underground was on the rock and punk that came after it, and that the band had a lasting effect on the shoegaze and slowcore movements that followed. This track we listened to today, Tugboat, has been covered by many artists, including the Submarines, who recorded it with indie rock producer Adam Lassus for their iTunes live session EP, as well as British Sea Power on Rough Trade compilation Stop Me If You Think You've Heard This One Before, Welsh lo-fi band Joanna Gruesome, Portatastic and Kiwi Jr. For a planned concert of Galaxie 500 covers at Rough Trade Brooklyn, set to coincide with the Record Store Day and the release of Galaxie's Copenhagen on vinyl. In 2010, the bands Cloudland Canyon and Cité appeared on a 7-inch EP together, wherein they both covered Galaxie 500, the former taking on Temperatures Rising and the latter doing a version of Tugboat. In 2012, the song Tugboat was featured in the film The Perks of Being a Wallflower, directed by Steven Chbosky and based on the book by the same name. Now, these lyrics, which are pretty cut and dry. I want to stay at your party. Pardon me. I don't want to stay at your party. I don't want to talk with your friends. I don't want to vote for your president. I just want to be your tugboat captain. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd be happy. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd be happy. I don't want to stay out, or pardon me, I don't want to stay at your party. I don't want to talk to your friends. I don't want to vote for your president. I just want to be your tugboat captain. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd be happy. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd like to be. It's a place I'd be happy. And there you have it, John. That is Tugboat by Galaxie 500. And what a great shout by our old friend Finbar, who's also good to just have him back on the channel again with a recommendation, if he'll even see this. I'm not sure. It's been a minute since we've heard from him. But there's one thing we know about Finbar. He's got great musical taste. Showed that on Into the Music several times and done it a few times here as well. So a lot of fun giving this one go. I'm sure he's glad you liked it, John. I'm glad I enjoyed it and that you did as well.
Yeah, I thought this was brilliant.
Yeah, really was. Really was. I know it's early goings here, but we've already got like some of these early candidates for something that's almost 12 months in the making down the line between, a Sublime song that you really like by me and now this Galaxie 500 for our viewer requests. It's early loaded this year. So we'll see how it all unfolds, but I would assume that this is a candidate in your mind already. So all that out of the way, guys, please let us know what you thought of Galaxie 500 and this track Tugboat down in the comments field below. If there's other tracks by them that we should check out, you better get them in here soon because it sounds like John and I are both going to go eagerly check out more from these guys in the not so distant future. But yeah, feel free to give it a shout or any other track by any other artist you would like us to check out on a future Friday episode. Just feel free to drop it down in this or any other comments field of our videos, and we will be sure to add it to the list for a future installment of our viewer suggestion dedicated episodes. Also, please like, share, and or subscribe if you haven't done any or all of those things. If you'd be so kind, it only takes you a couple clicks. Doesn't cost you anything, but it goes a long way to help us with the algorithm gods over here at YouTube. So thank you so much for all of that. And hopefully, John and I will catch all y'all in growing numbers on the next installment of the Audiophiles. We'll see you later, guys.